What's the best way to ensure longevity as a B2B AI consultant and implementer? It is in your domain expertise. What a lot of AI consultants and implementers and advisors and automation experts, etc., lack is a deep domain experience in the industry that they are working in. So you see, not to dump on them, but you see a lot of 20-year-olds who are out there selling N8N automations, and they're like, this is going to automate your marketing for your car detailing business. They've never worked in a car detailing business, for example, but which means that they don't have the industry knowledge to know what's actually valuable for that particular business. AI is a tool to solve business problems when we deploy it in B2B settings, and that means that we need to have an intimate relationship with what those problems are. So anybody who's worked in that industry for decades is going to have them already, and you're going to be in a much better position to be able to know what problems people within your industry have and how to solve them with AI. So I actually teach people to go and give workshops. And when you give a workshop, one of the most important things is you don't become a general workshop facilitator or implementer or advisor, but you hone in on your niche and you talk to people within your niche about why AI is important and why they need to be paying attention. And then you teach them and help them using examples that make sense within that industry, using the stories, using the metaphors, being able to draw on case studies specifically to that industry. That's how you outmaneuver large outfits like McKinsey or KPMG, for example. They're not going to have that deep level of industry expertise. So what you do is you combine what you've been doing in your kind of non-AI life with your AI knowledge, and you find your market in the middle of. That's how you're going to secure longevity. I would also say, built on this, build an audience. So Greg Eisenberg has been banging on about this, and I fully agree that we are moving from a time where your product is the most important to distribution. Increasingly, it's becoming easy to build, it's becoming easy to launch. It's an exciting time if you are an entrepreneur, because it's probably the easiest time ever to open and get rolling with a business. However, that means there's more competition, and you need to lock your distribution channels in place. And distribution becomes the 80-20. So previously, you had to focus on making a killer offer. Now it's about getting that offer out to people, and that matters more. So distribution comes from, if you've got cash, advertising. If you don't have cash, it's probably going to be content marketing. So it's going to be doing stuff like I'm doing right now, talking on lives, recording videos, writing a newsletter, but all of this specifically for people in your niche. So if you're going for B2B, you're going to be doing it on LinkedIn for the most part, and building your name as the expert in your particular industry. So you become the manufacturing AI guy, or the lady who teaches AI to educators, for example. Like, you need to carve out that particular niche, and that's going to give you a lot of longevity moving forward, because you are the name, you're the top of mind individual within your particular niche. That's a really powerful play. So I think two things: longevity comes from domain expertise, being able to talk specifically to that industry, and two, being known for that. If you can lock those two down, so instead of chasing whatever the hot industry is, you lock those two down, and then you're going to have longevity rather than just a quick flash in the pan cash, which you can also do, but that's not going to work for many years. User 699944 says, I'm fresh out of uni without domain expertise. How is it best to find a niche to specialize in? This is in, I believe, reference to what I was talking about earlier, about if you want to build or carve out a long-term place for yourself in artificial intelligence. The best way to do so is to combine your domain expertise with your knowledge of artificial intelligence. So there was a guy from Y Combinator who recently talked about this. Let me see if I can pull it up, because it was fascinating. He was talking about, he called it going undercover, if I remember correctly. Let me see if I can pull it out, because it made me laugh. He basically said lots of first-time founders, what they should do is they should go undercover. Let me see if I can find the actual tweet. Jared. There we go. If you're building an AI agent to automate some job, like a payroll specialist, the hardcore move is just to go and get that job and do it for a while. We call this going undercover, and we're seeing more of the top founders do it. It's the best way to learn what to build. So this is a guy, he's a partner at Y Combinator, the startup accelerator and investor. And he's basically saying, go and get a job, which I find really funny. But they call it going undercover. But you go and get a job, and with the express purpose of seeing what the core frictions, the core problems and difficulties are within that business, so that you can then step outside of that and solve them using artificial intelligence. And the way you might do this you'd go and get a job, you'd go undercover, and you would build an internal tool for that company. And that's a really good way to basically get your first customer. So you'd probably build it for them. Whether or not they own it depends on your contract, depends if you do it on their time, etc. Doesn't really matter that much as long as they don't own the IP. You need to make sure they don't own the IP, but you could build it for them, sell it to them, and then basically go off and do your own thing. Or you can just go get the job, do the job for 3-6 months, work out what their problems are, and then leave the job and go and build yourself. Obviously, this depends on your own personal situation and whether you need an income or not. But I thought this was a fascinating way to do it, especially because he calls it going undercover instead of just getting a job. It also is exciting for the people who don't necessarily see themselves as entrepreneurs. They don't see themselves as people who build their own businesses, build their own tools. Those people, you're in a really good position right now because the tools to build have become so easy. So using things like Lovable for vibe coding and then Cursor to refine it, you can actually now build a product which would have only just been an idea before without a technical co-founder. And then you can build your prototype, you can build your minimum viability product, show it to people, make sure that there is value there, and then you can go and get a technical co-founder, or you can hire, or you can raise money, etc. So if you do have this, if you've been going undercover for decades, this is a really exciting time right now because you don't need to be a technical genius to take advantage of it. But if you are young, then one option is to go undercover to get a job and to work out what it is that businesses really need. The other way would be, so this is if you want to do B2B, if you want to sell to businesses, which I highly recommend because businesses have more money than individuals. But if you are 20 years old, you don't have any experience, you could also look at B2C, so that's selling to individuals. So you'd build something and you'd build an audience for yourself on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, etc. And you would sell to the public, so B2C, business to consumer. That might be the way for you. B2C's fiddly because it's going to be more about brand. You end up with more customers and more annoying customers, whereas with B2B, you can sell one to one customer, boom, $100,000, fantastic, happy days. Whereas with B2C, you might be selling something that's $20 to thousands of people. And when you have that many people, some of them are going to be difficult. That's just part of the mathematics. But obviously, it's doable. You can hire customer service, etc. Or maybe you don't care about that. Maybe not like me. For me, I prefer B2B because it's single sales and they're much larger. And honestly, they're not that much more difficult than doing B2C sales, but it's up to you and it depends what the product is, of course. If you are looking to do that, have a look at yoniman.mp4. He did this exactly. He focused on building an audience first and foremost. And his way to do that was, I'm going to post every single day about my journey, about my building public journey. I think he's at day 500 or so now. He just consistently did it. And then after a year or so, talking to an audience, building his audience, he came out with an application and it's B2C and it did very well. I think he got to the top of Product Hunt and he did well in the App Store as well. So he's doing gangbusters. So he took the B2C route instead of the B2B route. And that is entirely open as well. And that does not require you to go and get a job or to go undercover. So a couple of ways to do it. There's no right way. And entrepreneurship is complex. And you will run into problems and barriers and difficulties and times when you have no money, and that is just kind of part of the game. And the main thing is that you just keep going. Jack is saying the same thing. So get a job or work experience in the field and find something that slows them down 100%. And it won't take you that long to spot the problems either. It really won't. And then build a product that serves their pain point and sell it. Yes, yeah. Jack just summed up what I babbled about for 5 minutes. He said it in 2 sentences. JW says, how can I get in touch about a workshop? I think it would add huge value to my business. So the best way would be to get in contact with my business partner. He helps with the logistics of that. So he's harminder@bstreetdigital.com and he'll be able to chat to you about how we do that. I also have a bunch of teachers as well. I have about 100 people who facilitate workshops for me. So if you're looking for something local and I'm not local to you, then potentially one of those people can come in as well. And they're pretty much global. Yeah, all over the world.